What are you doing?
It's a mind zone. He did win.
Oh my gosh, Agatha!
Casanova says Agatha. He just shrugs.
So none of the decks actually can have Nimrod in them. But that doesn't mean that you can't get one generated off of an Agent Coulson. And then
Not good for Raven!
Yeah.
He hits the Nimrod on the throne room. The she makes even more.
Oh no. Bishop's gonna go 3 times. Oh yeah.
Oh
Wait, one more. Get one more from the last clip. He's getting 2 more. Yep, here we go. That's enough. That's enough by 1. Wow, perfectly done. Unbelievable. Point.
It's crazy how powerful this deck can be versus Thanos. You're getting so much
Relief.
Ego takes the wheel. They both snap. You saw the reaction from Spessy. They're like, no.
Warrior Falls is a disaster.
Reality's so
And
cheap.
Cozy knows exactly how much of a disaster it is. Oh my god. It's 22.
Oh my god, there
It's the helicarrier.
22 power. And then the
That is
double
phenomenal.
sunspot. Wow.
That is phenomenal.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Infinity Gauntlet presented by 983 Media, and we have made it to the finals. We've had a month-long tournament. I'm Ray Bartholdi, joined here by Mani Devuti, finally in the finals. Mani, how you feeling?
I am so excited. It feels like it's all been building up for this. We've had a ton of good matches between 16 very talented players, and to make it to the finals and have this epic showdown on a new patch with some new decks, it's just really cool to see.
Absolutely. We have Jeff Hoogland versus Dera here for the finals. Let's take a look at the bracket and find out how our players got to this moment. Mani, it's been exciting all the way. Talk to me specifically about Dera's journey getting here.
Yeah, Dera has had a somewhat smooth road, was making it through that winner's bracket until he was stopped by Casanova, getting knocked down to the loser's bracket, and then from the loser's bracket really turned things around again. Of course, all of that was after the deck swap. So this new deck that he's brought that we're going to be taking a closer look at, it has just absolutely been dominating. We saw him overcome Specimen first, then Freddy Babes, then getting the revenge on Casanova, and that has taken him back here to face off against Jeff Hoogland.
Yeah, and Jeff Hoogland, by the way, a much smoother road to get to where he is, has not yet lost a single time in this tournament and wants to keep it that way. By the way, Dera wants to take the whole thing down, has to beat Jeff twice, Mani.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Jeff has 2 decks, so if Dera wins the first match, he'll have to go through the second deck using the same deck that he has brought. So for Jeff, one of the big advantages in this finals and in this format is just getting a lot of time to adapt to what Dera is playing and what Dera's game plan is, because normally you only have the confines of one battle mode match, but because Dera has to play the same deck across both matches, Jeff can really adapt and try to formulate a game plan to overcome should he lose the first match.
Well, let's take a look at Jeff's deck that he chose to bring here for his main deck. And he could have switched this up if he wanted to, Mani, but he decided to go with the thing that's brought him this far already.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is the Hawk Bounce deck that Jeff has brought, and this deck has looked absolutely dominant every time we've seen it so far. Just using the power of these cheap one-drop cards with Beast and Falcon has been so impressive, and Bishop plus Darkhawk growing to insane sizes has just been so safe for Jeff so far. We saw Dera face a similar version of the deck, a little budget, no Darkhawk from Freddy Babes in the loser's bracket, and he's already overcome a bounce deck. Now, will Darkhawk noticeably change the matchup? Absolutely, it might, but for Dera, at least somewhat confident that he is able to overcome a bounce deck.
Yeah, and this deck, props to Jeff too. I think it's really awesome. I had a fun time playing it on the ladder, and it kind of sparked off I think, a real revolution in people playing this in Snap too. It's a really, really cool archetype. Excited to see it here in the finals once again. Let's pivot here and take a look at the deck that Dera brought to the finals here, Monty.
Yeah, now this deck is cool. This is a deck that I don't think we really expected to see. Nobody else brought it after the resubmission here, but it is a newly enabled deck. So this is a Darkhawk deck, but it's not the typical Darkhawk deck we see. This has Master Mold and Ronan the Accuser to add to the package here. This deck is very much a new take on the Darkhawk archetype, just being able to clog up both your opponent's deck and now hand, and making sure you're slowing down their plays and taking advantage of that by getting onto the board with these large creatures.
All right, which of these two decks do you like better here, Monty?
It's hard to go against Jeff Hoogland considering how dominant he's been with this bounce deck. But I think right now, Dera is on a roll through this loser's bracket. He's overcome bounce once, and I really just want to see a grand final between the players on Jeff's second deck.
All right, well, we've got to get there. We've got to get there first. First matchup. Let's see if Jeff Hoogland can lock it down here versus Dera here in the Infinity Gauntlet. All right, here we go. Round number 1 of the grand finals. Jeff Hoogland on the bottom of your screen. Dera on the top of your screen. Kicking it off with a snap, Monty.
Yeah, this is awkward. Jeff's deck is trying to bounce things that he can actually use using Beast and Falcon. 3 squirrels getting added to the board. That is clogging up what is available for Jeff, but he does not mind immediate snap back. And if Dera chooses to stay in, this could be an 8-cube game right off the bat.
Oh my God, you love to see it. And both of them, you can see Dera kind of smiled on that snapback. Oh yeah, we're going for it. Bast, the first play here for Hoogland in Central Park. And we're gonna get our hands messed up here from the second location.
This is really annoying because part of Dera's game plan is trying to clog up Jeff's hand with these Sentinels. Of course, Jeff's deck is very good at emptying its hand because of how cheap everything is, but with a Tillin coming down, the Sentinels are going to get shuffled back into Jeff's deck, and if he just draws Sentinels, that may prove to be quite annoying for how the game plays out.
Yeah, and the Nexus being the third location revealed, that just continues to mess things up. Jeff's going to put Bishop in there because that's a card that, of course, can get very huge very quickly, but there's not a lot of space left.
There is not that much space left. Notably, Jeff does draw the Darkhawk again. That was going to be a big one. Now with the Black Widow and Beast is able to start these shenanigans of attacking Dera's draws, attacking Dera's hand. But Dera, on the other side, is also doing some good work using Rock Slide to make Jeff's draws potentially more awkward. The big problem here is Dera had a Shang-Chi before that was going to be huge. Now he does not.
Yeah, no Shang-Chi in hand for Dera here. Could turn out to be a problem. The Nexus, super important location, of course, to care about here as the game goes on. Bishop already up to 5 power.
Oh, I love this. Dera had the option of playing Ronan the Accuser that turn into Nexus, is reconsidering. If you play Ronan into Nexus, you are taking priority for the next turn. That means Shang-Chi off the table. But if Dera had chosen not to go for Ronan, would enable himself to draw Shang-Chi off the top. As is, he's saying we are just going to have a good old-fashioned stat battle over Nexus. I have Ronan, you have limited board slots, so there's a lot of cards in your hand, and you're not going to be able to empty them all. Between Ronan and Dr. Doom, maybe I can just overpower you in stats here.
Oh yeah, and Ronan looking absolutely enormous here in the Nexus, currently sitting at 17. Widow's Bite dumped into the mid location there. And here we go into the final turn. 8 cubes on the line.
8 cubes on the line. Jeff is able to play 4 of these cards that would reduce the Ronan down from 17 down to, I believe, 9. So that's immediately going to be a boost. There is a Dr. Doom being added there, so 20 power in that lane for Dera. But I think Jeff has more.
Wow, this is absolutely huge Nexus stat battle here on the final turn of this game that both players have just made absolutely critical for this match by putting 8 cubes on the line. Demon and Darkhawk into the Nexus here for Jeff. And look at this, Monty!
I love it. Neither player had pressed end turn yet, and I love this decision to retreat from Dera. He knows that he is not winning a meaningful stat battle considering how many cards Jeff can play from the hand there. The game started off high octane, but I think this is an excellent retreat from Dera because losing 8 cubes in the first round is nearly impossible. Not actually impossible, but nearly impossible to come back from.
Yes, and those reads, while painful, so painful, you've got to make them to keep yourself in the match. And Jeff's going to start things off here in game number 2 with another snap with the reveal of Mojo World.
Yeah, Jeff is not interested in letting Dera get a foothold comfortably in this game. Just snapping early, you see that he already has the key pieces. The hood is there with Bast. You have the Bishop, now the Mysterio follow-up. This is everything Jeff wants to see in a game. Mojo World even is a great location for him, considering how many cards he is able to play, how many small units he has access to. So really great stuff from Jeff, but Dera, all-important card now, Killmonger being drawn.
Yeah, there's Bishop into Hell's Kitchen there for Jeff, but like you said, Killmonger really could be a difference maker here in this game for Dera.
Yeah, the question really is when Dera wants to go for it. Of course, you have to be careful not to potentially get falconed out while you're going for the Killmonger, but in this position, if you are able to remove a decent number of 1-drops from Jeff, that would be excellent for Dera.
Los Diablos goes off, blows up Mojo Worlds, leaving behind some ruins here. So,
oh no.
Oh God. What's going to happen here?
It looked for a moment like Dera was going for the Killmonger, but
Yeah.
Jeff has priority and was going for Falcon. Not going to be the case this time. Dera does take it back and goes for the Scorpion instead. So
Nice.
now Dera is going to have all of these 1-drops that are bounced to the hand, getting hit by the Scorpion. That is a full hand as well, so this is going to be no draw coming out from Jeff Hoogland this turn, but of course that means a lot of plays able to come out for Jeff next turn.
Holy cow, what a decision there from Dera not to play the Killmonger, instead go for the Scorpion. Really paying off for him.
Yeah, and now Dera has the all-important Sarah on turn 5. We have seen what Darkhawk decks in the past are able to do when having this cost reduction effect. Even just in Dera's current hand, you do have access to the Shang-Chi if Jeff makes this Bishop too big this turn, which does look like he is going to do, as well as that Killmonger to clean up all of these 1-drops. So I think Dera might just be snapping back after seeing this turn from Jeff Hoogland.
Yeah, I think you're right, Monty. There's Demon, there's Bast, and there's Korg for Jeff. Bishop going up to 9, and indeed from 10 from that hood, and Killmonger is gonna get hungry here.
Yeah, do you smell what the Rock is cooking? Killmonger, Shang-Chi coming out, and I think this is going to be a snap from Dera, and I think this is going to have to be a retreat from Jeff Hoogland. I don't really see you beating anything Dera is doing this turn.
Yeah, you can, Dera here, you can just really see super nervous about what to do with this play as he blows some air through his lips. Jeff, meanwhile, too, has got to be wondering, does he have the Killmonger? And Jeff's going to decide, I don't want to wait and see.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to see a snap from Dera. Dera, of course, still thinking about how to sequence this turn, how to play it out. Could snap, could not. Looks like he's going to try to get the 4 cubes. We know that's not going to happen, but excellent recognition from Jeff that this game just did not work out in his favor.
Absolutely. Jeff here hitting retreat later. Dera, meanwhile, still playing as if the game's active, which, of course, you've got to. There's the Killmonger. You can see what he would have done here if this game were to have gone on. And the turn is going to give him the W here. Jeff escaped.
All right. 4-2 in favor of Jeff Hoogland for cubes lost so far as we go into round 3, still a ways away from high stakes, but this is yet another excellent hand from Jeff Hoogland. Is missing the bishop that you do hope to see, but Angela does do a suitable job of starting to grow early while you have this falcon. So things getting off to a nice early start for both players. Dera already has the all-important Killmonger as well as Scorpion to shrink down this hand a bit. With Jeff having priority here, Bass is going to go off first, then the Scorpion. Going to do some nice shrinking on these cards.
Yeah, absolutely. Bass tries to pump Scorpion, knocks him back down. Lechugia, Mojo World, and Strange Academy, the locations revealed this game. Angela and Hood going mid, and there's the snap from Dera.
Yeah, the snap coming out from Dera, having access to Master Mold this turn now to clog up Jeff's hand. So much of Jeff's game plan involves using either the hand or the board space to leverage advantages. So you see the shake of the head when this Master Mold comes out. Jeff's hand is full after this draw, and now your beasts and your falcons get a lot more awkward when you have these sentinels sitting.
Yeah, absolutely. Master Mold just seems like a master choice here from Dera, specifically against Jeff's deck, because like you said, he just can't utilize his deck the way that he wants to.
Yeah, and the snap from Dera has already resolved, so you do see Jeff being in a position where even if he did want to retreat, he is forced to give up those 2 cubes and equalize the match. So Dera just leveraging these snaps so well in all 3 games so far. Now able to deploy a Darkhawk, still has the Ronin Doctor Doom follow-up, could also go for Sarah and have more options going into the last turn. But we know that Killmonger, if Jeff is able to deploy a decent amount of this hand, will be huge.
Yeah, Killmonger just always waiting in the wings feels so devastating. Here for Jeff, Falcon is going to swoop some cards into hand, bump up Angela in there, and Sentinel as well. Darkhawk in Strange Academy for Dera, just dumping some stats onto the table here as we get into turn number 5.
That was a really cute play from Jeff. You saw him leveraging the order of the cards played. The Falcon bounced both 1-cost cards to hand, filled up the hand, so this Sentinel didn't make another Sentinel. That's essentially Jeff getting rid of one of the Sentinels permanently, which is what he's looking for. Unfortunately, that still comes at a cost of you having spent 2 of your precious mana, because this deck is trying to leverage all of this mana every turn, playing a Sentinel. So really cool moves from Jeff, but it does still come at a cost. Does end up missing a draw step player, so that is some permanent-ish stats being added to Dera's Darkhawk. And the understanding from both players of how this matchup goes and how to force the pressure on your opponent's resources has been so impressive to watch.
Absolutely. Both of these players playing just excellently here in this match, and indeed why they are here in the grand finals after a lot of work going through the earlier portion of the tournament. Sarah there for Dera, Demon, Bast, and Hood for Hoogland. Into Strange Academy is going to deposit those cards as it will. Random locations. Darkhawk ends up in Lechugia for Dera, giving him massive stats over there. And Jeff's locked up mid here.
Yeah, and this is a problem for Jeff, because Lechugia being that location means that you are never racing this Darkhawk. Any stats you add there is going to grow that Darkhawk by 6. So that lane essentially feels lost. Your middle is locked up thanks to how that Strange Academy played out, and it's no surprise to see Jeff retreating later. If Dera plays anything into that middle, or if Dera just has a Killmonger, this game is over and Jeff can do nothing to contest it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Dera was playing Killmonger mid, and that's going to give him the win there over Jeff as Jeff hits escape.
All right, 3 rounds in, and we're all tied up at 4 cubes lost apiece from both players. So even game, as this is the last round before high stakes, Maria.
All right, here we go. Round number 4. Kicking it off with a snap from Jeff. Bast on turn number 1 is where you almost always want to be, with Mysterio in hand as well as Bishop and Angela. I don't think you could ask for anything more, honestly.
Yeah, this is about as good as it gets. Maybe you could make an argument that this hand would want the Hood more than something, but as things stand, this hand is nearly picture perfect, and Dera with a hand that is much less so. Happy to get out before high stakes happens. Essentially a free retreat there, just to make sure that you have 5 cubes to work with going into high stakes, giving you an extra turn.
And we are now in high stakes here. Kamertage, the location, elicits a snap immediately from Dera, who we've seen snap extremely aggressively throughout this tournament. Korg happy to go there, though, for Jeff.
Yeah, Korg for Jeff coming out on Kamertage. I think it's Korg for both players on Kamertage. And the snap back from Jeff. So with this turn getting passed, this is going to be the entire match. You see Dera breathe out a little air, and orgs for both players, shake of the head, and we are off to the races. Spider-Man emoji coming out.
You love it. Absolutely. The players still having fun despite the high stakes here of this game, and in fact, potentially the entire tournament on the line. Wakanda revealed second here.
And that Wakanda is really good for Jeff Hoogland because Dera has the Shang-Chi, Dera has the Killmonger. Jeff has no destroy effects to really be interacting with. This Scorpion, after the Bass, once again, it's like, all right, they're 3s, now they're 1s. You see the shake of the head from Jeff because everything he just did got negated. Yes, he does still have that Wakanda. Yes, he does still have the ability to play around the destroy effects from Dera, but so far, Dera has definitely gotten the better end of everything that has played out.
Yeah, and Dera able just to dump that rock into Vormir there, open up the location for him. And here we go, Angela and Black Widow into Kamertage for Jeff, trying to get some momentum back here.
Yeah, both players have drawn one of their rocks that are of the 2 that were put in the deck by those double Korg abilities. Jeff having the Black Widow here doubled means that he is going to be pressuring Dera's board slots a bit. I don't think Dera is too worried considering this deck doesn't fill up the board too often, but notably he does have Dr. Doom with Kamertage, so that is going to fill up Wakanda if he drops both Widow's Bites there, so maybe wanting to spread them out a little bit. And the big question here for Dera is, are you going to go for Ronin in Kamertage, say, I'll win this lane this way, Dr. Doom to try to win the other lanes, or Sarah and try to still be able to explode?
Yeah, does it seem like Dera's game to lose here?
It does feel really good for Dera right now. Jeff has still been struggling somewhat. The Darkhawk is going to be nice to come out now, as Dera's deck is still quite large, but with the Dr. Doom on Kamertage, I think I still have to give the edge to Dera.
All right, there goes the rock for Hoogland into Vormir. Darkhawk there. Huge stats at 15. Sarah for Dera, Widow's Bite into Wakanda. We enter the final turn.
And there's the Shang-Chi. Yeah. I think you're not able to play that with anything else. So I think this is still going to be Dr. Doom from Dera, but with only 2 cards in Jeff's hand, Dera knowing one of those is definitely America Chavez. All Dera needs to do is be able to beat 9 power getting added to 1 lane, and Dr. Doom is currently winning all 3 lanes. So I think this is mathematically Dera's, and that is going to be Jeff Hoogland, unless something goes horribly wrong that I can't imagine, going down here in the first match, Maria. We're going to get a grand final.
Wow, incredible. Jeff Hoogland not losing any matches through the top of the tournament, now facing Dera here in the finals. Dera saying, hey, I'm going to force a match number 2. All he can do is put America Chavez into Kamertage, and here comes Dr. Doom. Doubled up from Kamertage's triggered ability. Boom, boom, that's Wakanda and Vormir, and that is Dera taking down Jeff Hoogland here in round 1 of the finals, Monty.
Yeah, you see the shake of the head from Jeff, and it's got to be said, it looks like a rough matchup for Jeff. Dera is doing so many things to contest what you're doing, but of course, it's also how the cards lined up. That Scorpion, Dera had it every time in response to Jeff's... Excuse me, there was 1 cube left.
There's 1 cube. There was a hidden cube.
Yeah, the maximum Dera could win was only 5. That was hiding off screen, but of course, we are still in it, so ignore everything I just said. Jeff Hoogland has a chip in the chair and still in it, trying to come back 2 cubes at a time for 3 matches here.
All right, here we go. Jeff Hoogland living life on the county here. Black Widow into the negative zone to clog up Dera's hands. Scorpion was the first play for Dera, which has proven to be an absolute all-star in this specific matchup. Bishop into cloning bats, though, is going to be nice for Jeff. You always want another Bishop if you can have one. Lizard in the negative zone for Dera.
Yeah, the Crimson Cosmos is a little awkward for Jeff. He is, I think, going to be forced to go for multiple Darkhawks here just to try to win that way. But he's not going to get the second Darkhawk thanks to that Master Mold. So Cloning Bats won't give him that. And I think that was the only card except for America Chavez that Jeff could actually play to this Crimson Cosmos. And
Ooh,
yeah, I think he's just done.
Yeah, that's going to do it.
All right,
Wow.
Everything I said a moment ago applies now.
Now is true.
Now it's true. We are going to go to the second match.
Everybody, that is Dera taking down Jeff Hoogland here in the finals. Like you said, Monty, we now get a grand finals, and this is for everything. Everybody, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the grand finals. Oh, Monty, you know, casting a Snap tournament's really awesome, but you know what I miss doing on a Saturday morning?
Lay it on me.
Watching Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, I miss those too. I loved getting up on Saturday morning to watch cartoons.
What was your favorite cartoon?
It has to be X-Men, the animated series. Come on, that theme song?
Awesome. But you can't just watch a cartoon. You need to have an awesome snack while you're watching the cartoon, right?
Yeah, Maria, my personal favorite was just grabbing a nice bowl of cereal and some milk, curling up on the couch, and watching those cartoons for hours. Well, have you heard of Magic Spoon?
What's Magic Spoon?
Oh, you have? Maria! Magic Spoon only has 4 to 5 grams of net carbs, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 0 grams of sugar. It's been my go-to snack.
Hey, that sounds awesome, actually, because that's a ton of protein, and normally you can't get that from cereal.
Yeah, I have been so happy with it.
Do you have a bowl that you're eating right now, Monty?
Maria, I'm glad you asked because I've got a bowl of their delicious peanut butter flavor right here.
Incredible. What are the chances? Hey, if you want to get yourself some Magic Spoon cereal, you can. You can click on the link below to grab a variety pack and try it today. Be sure to use the promo code 983SNAP at checkout to get $5 off on any order, or go to magicspoon.com/983SNAP. In fact, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen and use the code 983SNAP for $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/983SNAP to save $5 today. Hey, you know what, Monty? This stuff's actually really good. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Infinity Gauntlet, brought to you by 983 Media, and Dera has forced a match number 2 against Jeff Hoogland, who up until this point in the tournament was undefeated, Monty.
Yeah, Jeff finally being forced to play a deck that is not that Darkhawk bounce deck that he has done so well with up to this point. So we're going to see what the second deck Jeff has brought is for the first time, Maria.
Yes, for the first time, his second deck making its grand debut in the grand finals, and it's Wave Hulk, Monty. Talk to me about this deck.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting deck here being brought by Jeff. Not something I've seen too much of up to this point, but it does feel very much like a control deck. You see familiar elements, Storm, Jessica Jones, Dr. Doom, various ways to try to lock people out of lanes. You do also see Goose, but one of the cool inclusions of this deck, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, as an additional way of trying to lock people out of lanes, and of course, the namesake combo, Wave plus She-Hulk, both trying to slow down your opponent's final turns, because so much of the game is about doing multiple things on the last turn, as well as giving you the ability to go Wave on turn 5, She-Hulk plus X on turn 6.
Right, exactly. How do you think this deck shapes up against Dera's deck? Because indeed, Dera's got to play the same thing. This is Dera's second deck.
Well, we have seen Dara overcome a Goose deck already, but there are some cool elements here in the Wave Hulk deck that Dara has not faced so far. Shang-Chi, of course, being one of the main ones that Dara has to be worried about. This is going to present an answer to Ronin, an answer to Darkhawk, and notably with the most recent change, if Jeff can Shang-Chi with priority on the turn that Dara is playing a Mystique, that would stop the Mystique from going off. So this is a big role player in the matchup. Both players have access to Dr. Doom, so multiple ways to play into the Storm lane if that is something Jeff goes for. But I think this is going to be a much closer match than the first one we saw.
All right, everybody, well, let's see it. Jeff Hoogland versus Dara. It's grand finals time. All right, here we go. You wanted an entire match here in the grand finals. You're going to get two. Dara versus Jeff Hoogland. Jeff now with that second deck that Monty talked about. First time in the tournament playing something completely new.
Yeah, and you see starting off with Scorpion here. Jeff got Scorpion so many times by Dara in that first match. Happy to give him a taste of his own medicine perhaps here in the second match. One of the things that I think is very notable in this deck, in this game, and how important it's going to be is Sarah for Dara. Now, already a big part of the game plan, but when you're facing off against cards like Goose and when you're facing off against cards like Wave, having Sarah would allow Dara to be able to play under the Goose with 4-drops. It would allow him to play multiple cards on the Wave turn. So I think that is going to be a big one that Dara will actively be looking out for when choosing when to snap.
Both players scorpioning each other early on in this game. Storm's going to flood out the third location there from Jeff, getting the control plan underway, trying to lock out a location. There's a snap from Jeff.
Yeah, I believe that is Jessica Jones being dropped in flooding, as we have seen so many times before. And with Dara playing Darkhawk into not playing Jessica Jones into flooding, just playing into Lemuria, because of course Starlight Citadel is going to shake things around. Both players chose the lane, and that's a snap back from Dara.
Holy cow, Starlight Citadel. The players making a gamble, both going to the right spot, but Darkhawk's bigger. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really cool. Now, notably, Jeff does have Dr. Doom available. So this Jessica Jones, once it gets its buff with the Dr. Doom being played, could still win that flooded lane. So Dara does not have the lane locked up yet. This is a snapback from Dara. So if Jeff continues throughout this turn, we are going to be playing for a minimum of 4 cubes, could be 8 at the end of that next turn. So this is going to be a big decision point from Jeff about whether he's going to stay in or not. This is open deck list, so Jeff knows that Dara has access to Dr. Doom of his own, meaning that there's no guarantee he could win that lane.
Absolutely, and Jeff is going to say no thank you and retreat out of that game, giving Dara the win there in 2 cubes. On to Jeff's life. Round number 2, kicking off here with Sinister London. Whew.
Sinister London, that is a good one for Dara. He is very happy to get copies of his Darkhawk, of his Mystique, of the Sarah. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Jeff prioritize storming that lane as soon as possible, especially if he goes Goose, try to lock down 2 potential lanes, and then storm Sinister London. So this is a big snap from Jeff, and with Dara's hand, I would have loved to see him perhaps choose to retreat there.
Asteroid M, one of the newer locations in the game, getting revealed second. Looks like Master Mold into Sinister London, perhaps.
Is he going to snap back here? Double Master Mold. That is 3 Sentinels in Jeff's head. He is going to hate to see it. The double Scorpion coming out instead of the Goose, and Jeff has 3 bricks to work with now.
Oof. That was brutal. Master Mold clogging up Jeff Hoogland's hand. Hellfire Club, the 3rd location, but one of my favorite things to do in the game is put Goose into Sinister London to try and lock your opponent out of doing the things they want to do most. But like you mentioned, that Sarah could come into play.
Yeah, I think this is going to be Dara's game plan is play Rockslide to Hellfire Club, play Sarah to Hellfire Club, and then that'll enable you, if you can draw that Darkhawk, to go Darkhawk, Mystique, and Sinister London on the last turn. That should be devastating.
There's double Sunspot for Hoogland. Storm into Hellfire Club. Asteroid's going to
Temporarily.
over. Yep. Nope, you belong over here. Rockslide sending rocks into Jeff's deck. Also going to get pulled mid. Scorpion the draw for Dara is going to put Sarah into flooding as you predicted.
Yeah, but this is still a bit of a problem for Dara. You do have that Mystique, but once this flooding is done, Ronin can't come down anymore. You can't play it under the goose with single reduction here. So Dara needs to draw that Darkhawk. If he doesn't, I think we may see a retreat from him.
Interesting, though, Killmonger. Jeff didn't play anything and just let the sunspots get pretty big. So it looks like Dara's happy here.
Well, now Jeff has access to this She-Hulk, but Dara's ready, not having the priority, says, okay, you're not going to play anything. I have Shang-Chi, so Killmonger, Shang-Chi, Korg, this feels like he's answering a lot of what Jeff is doing. Jeff putting the Sentinel in the middle lane first, just to ensure that he controls where the She-Hulk is going. But I think with these three cards coming down, it is still going to be going to Dara in most situations, though not all of them, perhaps. We have to see how the Sinister London plays out here.
What an incredible play there from Dara, understanding exactly what Jeff would do if he was trying to secure a win here. There's Shang-Chi taking it out. Yeah, it's enough. Dara's gonna take that 4-cuber over Jeff.
Yeah, a massive 4-cuber following up 2 from the first game. You just see Dara's understanding of Jeff's options so well. And one of the big issues is this master mold that Dara just keeps having. It keeps limiting Jeff's hand size, Jeff's options.
Master Mold has looked like an absolute all-star so far in this match. A card not everybody is very high on. Dara here putting a clinic on with it.
Yeah, and here we do see Jeff having access to Goose and Scorpion, once again leading off with the Scorpion, once again going to Snap, and Dara with perhaps a suboptimal hand, considering getting out of this for just 1 cube, understanding that the more cubes he can preserve with this massive lead he has over Jeff Hoogland, the better position he's going to be in. So there's no need to play marginal hands. He can pick and choose the games that he wants to participate in.
Absolutely, Dara's in the driver's seat here as we head into round number 4, the final round before high stakes kicks in. Asteroid M is going to appear again here for the players.
Dara this time finding the Darkhawk, has the Rockslide and the Korg as well. So Darkhawk going to be in a decent sized position. The Rockslide getting hit is annoying because that means now you can't. Oh my God.
Giving Dara a second Darkhawk. That's unbelievable.
And Maria, it's not just a second Darkhawk. The decks are huge. District X has made it so these Darkhawks are going to be bigger than normal as well.
God.
So this is just absolutely massive for Dara having access to 2 Darkhawks. Now Jeff finding a Sarah of his own.
Wow.
This is going to get really wild.
Storm's taking out the left location Darkhawk immediately in there, and I'm like, Dara's kind of slow playing this one by not snapping.
Yeah, it's slow playing, but I think that's a step for both players, Maria. If Jeff chooses to play, this is going to be potentially the final game because Jeff only has 4 cubes to work with. There is a Gambit in the hand. There are only 2 cards here available for Dara. So if Jeff just plays this Gambit out next turn, it is going to be a 50-50, an all-important 50-50
oh my God.
coming out for Jeff.
This is unbelievable stuff, everybody. Paid for the whole seat, only need the edge, etc. Rockslide into District X. What is Jeff going to do? Looks like he is going to Gambit.
Maria, what's the most you've ever lost on a coin flip?
I don't know, like $5.
All right, well,
Here we go.
Gambit here, 33%. Hits the core.
Jeff Hoogland never lucky, hitting the core, leaving Darkhawk and Rockslide unscathed. And guess what, buddy? I've got another one.
Yeah, Darkhawk, Squirrel Girl. I think this is going to be all she wrote. And Jeff not even interested in seeing how it plays out. It is a clean victory from Dera. That was a devastating sequence of events for Jeff Hoogland.
Absolutely incredible stuff. And you know, Monty, that's why we love Snap, right? You can never fully predict what is going to happen in any given match. And we saw the Gambit truly in this last match. What are your takeaways here from this match with Hoogland and Dera?
I think it's just really impressive to see Dera with basically 24 hours after the patch. That's all he had in order to submit a new deck, and he had one deck to carry him throughout the entire losers bracket, coming up with a unconventional deck in this Master Mold Darkhawk deck. And having that lower bracket run allowed him to really get the reps in, continue understanding his deck better, and by the end of this last match against Jeff Hoogland, Dera just looked unstoppable.
Absolutely. So very impressed with the deck construction, like you said, under those tough time constraints, but maybe getting those reps really paying off. Jeff didn't have the same number of reps that Dera did in this high-level competition, and Dera taking the whole thing down. Commiserations, of course, as well to Jeff, who did an excellent job making it here to our finals and without any losses in the upper bracket, and truly making a really cool, innovative deck in that bounce deck that we've been seeing all over the ladder these days, perhaps sparked by watching it here on this tournament. Monty, as we sit back and we think about everything that's happened so far here in the Infinity Gauntlet up to this point, now that we've closed the whole thing down, what are your main takeaways?
I think it's just really cool to see what high-level Snap competition can look like, seeing the top players bring some decks that are not really meta decks, like Jeff's Darkhawk bounce deck. I wouldn't have called that a meta deck when I first saw it, but Jeff not only put on a clinic with it, making it look incredible, but it almost got introduced into the metagame. I run into it a lot more now, and that has to be attributed to the success that one of the game's biggest creators and top players, Jeff Hoogland, was able to demonstrate. So it's cool to see this level of competition and how it can affect the metagame, but it's also just cool to see how things develop through battle mode over time.
Absolutely. I'm so excited that the players chose to bring some really creative stuff to this tournament. And then, like you mentioned, we end up seeing it when we're playing it ourselves. So I'm so excited to find out what happens from here. So Dera is going home with the big prize, everybody. Of course, the pride, but also $862.50. Congratulations to him. A nice payday here for this tournament, $460.50. Going to Jeff Hoogland, also a pretty nice payday for him. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us throughout the entire Infinity Gauntlet. It's been a blast for myself, Monty, all of the casters, and all the teams and the players. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in Snap.